Nats ace MacKenzie Gore has found himself in the trade rumor mill. And guys, it's not crazy.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, I'm your host, Ryan Clary. Catch me on Twitter at RyanClary11. And yes, we are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day here on Locked On Nationals. And later on in today's program, we'll be looking at some veteran pieces for the Nationals at this year's trade deadline. Closer Kyle Finnegan, who they should have traded last offseason, and first baseman Nathaniel Lowe. I'll have that discussion in the second segment and in the third segment rather. But in the second segment, are there any young pieces that the Nationals should consider trading at the deadline, or should they hold still? We'll have that discussion in the second segment. But a prominent major league reporter has kind of speculated that it would not be that crazy for the Nationals to trade away MacKenzie Gore. And Nationals fans, I'm sorry, but it isn't that crazy. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. And yes, take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So I want to tell you why it would not be that crazy for the Washington Nationals to trade MacKenzie Gore. MacKenzie Gore is by far and away the Nationals ace on the season, and MacKenzie Gore is a stud. He is going to make millions and millions of dollars, and he has 2.5 years left of team control, similar to when the Nationals traded away superstar stud Juan Soto a few years back in order to get a MacKenzie Gore. And I already know what everyone is thinking. Shut up. Shut up, Ryan. We do not want to hear it. We should not trade MacKenzie Gore. And I kind of agree with you. It would be really tiring. And quite frankly, it would be really depressing to see the Nationals trade away a young superstar. But I thought, again, I hate to say it, I think Ken Rosenthal brought up some great points last week. The Nationals may have come to the realization that they will have to go backwards before they can go forward. And if you really look at the Nationals right now, this is a good young core of a team. But then you have to add into free agency. You have to add in free agency, and you have to add in more ways than just a couple of big prospects. The Nationals need help. And MacKenzie Gore alone is not going to be the guy to carry this Nationals front starting pitching staff all the way through a postseason. MacKenzie Gore is an ace. He is a number one. He is going to get $400 million, $500. He's going to get a ton of money when he is a free agent in 2.5 years. But let me tell you this. The Nationals might actually have to go backwards before they go forwards, and it would suck. I would be really upset if they trade MacKenzie Gore. But then we start looking at trade packages, and you're like, okay, this kind of makes sense. In the moment when you traded Juan Soto, no one was really thinking about the future. We were just thinking about the past and how 2019 is over with. The Nationals, as we knew them, they're done. But now you look at it and you're like, well, James Wood is a superstar. CJ Abrams, your franchise shortstop, he's a stud. You have MacKenzie Gore, who is an all-star starting pitcher. Then he's an ace on a very good team, or really just a bad team right now. But even then, you throw him on a good team, he's probably an ace also. That trade alone is why the Nationals are not the Colorado Rockies at this point. That is a 20-win gap there with the Nationals and the Rockies. Like, again, you do not want to be the Colorado Rockies. And Mike DeBartolo, from all the reports, and according to himself, he is the one who stood on a table to trade Juan Soto and to get that package at that time. As we know it now, that was a great trade. That has totally revamped this team, and the reason why they aren't the Rockies is because of that trade. That is why you consider trading a MacKenzie Gore type. And again, I am not trading him for just one top prospect. We are talking about a massive haul for MacKenzie Gore. And if you get that Juan Soto type of deal, that godfather kind of offer for him at this year's deadline, you have to consider it. And if you are the Nationals, you just had the number 1 overall pick. You have a blue chip prospect there. And then now you have the potential to add 2, 3, maybe even 4 more guys in this organization where you feel good about the future. And also, you might even think beyond that for a second. If the Nationals get these guys in the building, some of them may be in AA or AAA, and it may not be as long as a process as it was with Juan Soto when you got guys who were in AAA, or in CJ's case, he was already in the majors at that point. Same with MacKenzie Gore. Then James Wood is in low A Fredericksburg. You could work a package to where guys are already at the forefront and they are ready to break out and be all-star caliber players. It would be crazy for the Washington Nationals not to consider this at this point. And people are going to hate it, and I get it. You should. But let's face the facts. MacKenzie Gore is a Scott Boras client. You are not going to extend him. Even if he was with the Yankees, you would not be able to extend him. He is going to free agency. And more than likely at this point, I can't look ahead and say that the Lerners are going to sell and the Nationals are going to have some billionaire owner like a Steve Cohen come in the building and just throw all the money out there. I can't trust that at this point. I love MacKenzie Gore. I would hate to see Gore go. But I also would kind of like to see this rebuild process go a little bit quicker. And if you can get that godfather Juan Soto type of return, which the Nationals likely could, then why wouldn't you consider it? In the moment, it sucked trading Juan Soto. That's an MVP Hall of Fame caliber player. And if we can trade Juan Soto, we can certainly trade MacKenzie Gore. As much as I love Gore, he is not the kind of player that Juan Soto was and is. You have to consider this. But again, I'm not going to just trade him just for the best offer out there. That's not what you're going to do. The only case in which you will trade MacKenzie Gore is if that godfather offer comes. If you get those 2 top 10 prospects from or not just top 10 prospects in a system, but top 10 prospects in baseball. If the Red Sox are calling and they're like, we'll give you Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and name that other top prospect they have and throw in a couple more pieces, and you guys can get MacKenzie Gore and Kyle Finnegan, let's just say. That's the kind of deal that the Nationals will be looking for, and I don't think the Red Sox will do that. That's just an example of the kind of prospects that I expect in return for MacKenzie Gore. But we would be insane not to consider it. And again, if I'm Mike DeBartolo at this year's deadline, I'm not calling teams like, hey, MacKenzie Gore is on the block. Teams are going to call about MacKenzie Gore. Teams call about anybody and everyone. They call about Juan Soto. I'm sure they're going to call about James Wood. Teams are going to try and trade guys any given year. I don't think the Nationals are going to be putting MacKenzie Gore out there at this point, but with 2.5 years of control left, the one organization that has seemingly been willing to trade stars at their peak of their careers have been the Nationals at this point. Teams are going to call. The Padres might call about MacKenzie Gore even. Seriously, I would consider it. The Nationals, this would not hurt their rebuild. I mean, no, it would hurt the rebuild. And in the short term, it would suck. You would not have an ace, and the starting pitching staff would be, quite frankly, a disaster. But I would consider it. And why wouldn't you at this point in time? The short-term thing is going to be bad. It's going to suck for Nats fans. It's going to suck for people who cover the team. It's going to suck for the Nationals organization. But for the long term, it would not be that bad. And again, I want to reiterate this point. The Nationals will not be the ones saying MacKenzie Gore will be out there. They will wait patiently and they will wait for a team, and they're not going to seem desperate to trade him because why would they? You've got 2.5 years of control left. The Nationals, for all we know, might go all in this offseason. They have no plans of trading MacKenzie Gore. Who knows? But I doubt it. That's why I would consider it. And again, if you think this rebuild is going to be done next year, I thought it would be originally. I don't know if it is anymore. You've got some holes. The catcher position is a hole right now. You don't have a long-term manager. Right now, you've got an interim GM, and that may also play into this. Does Mike DiBartolo really want to trade him, and will the Lerner family allow him to trade him this offseason even? If he is the long-term GM, or even not even this offseason, but at this trade deadline. But I could certainly see the rumors popping up again for MacKenzie Gore. I don't think it's that crazy. And again, if I'm the Nationals and a team is calling and they're willing to give up some godfather-like package for MacKenzie Gore, I'm considering it. But again, it has to reach that godfather level. And if it does, and there's a way that you're like, we can't lose this trade, then you move off him. This is not a Giancarlo Stanton to the Yankees type move. This is trading an ace at the peak of his powers, who actually, quite frankly, hasn't even reached it at this point. He has Cy Young type stuff amongst Major League Baseball strikeout leaders. He's been a star. I love MacKenzie Gore. But at this point in time, with where the Nationals are, I'm sorry, but it's not that crazy. It isn't. They should listen to offers for MacKenzie Gore, and quite frankly, I think we will as the weeks go ahead because we're just about 2 weeks away from the deadline. It would not be crazy to trade away MacKenzie Gore. I'll say that much. Thank you for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, we are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just look up Locked On Nationals wherever you get your pods on Apple, Spotify, and of course the video version over on YouTube. But next, the Nationals do have younger pieces in this building. I'll tell you why. I think MacKenzie Gore is the only one that I would trade at this point as far as the big three goes, and as well as Brady House and Dylan Cruz. Would not consider trading those guys. But are there any others? We'll discuss that after this. Get the supplies that you need from the site made for the Skilled Trades Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. And need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, we are the Locked On Nationals podcast. You can find us wherever you get your pods on Apple, Spotify, and of course the video version over on YouTube. Look up Locked On Nationals and hit that subscriber button. I'm sorry, Nationals fans, talking about trading MacKenzie Gore, but it's the right call. It's the right decision if the Nationals do get that Godfather offer. But now, let me tell you why I would not trade any other of the younger Nat studs here in the building. That includes CJ Abrams. That definitely includes James Wood. And that includes Brady House and Dylan Cruz as well. Let's start off with CJ Abrams because he is the other one who is closest to free agency, about 2.5 years left of control with the Nationals. And first and foremost, CJ is not tradable. CJ, in fact, is the most likely to sign a long-term extension here in DC. Is it going to happen this offseason? I don't know at this point. Is it going to happen in the next few days? Who knows at this point? But it's likely not going to happen in the next few days. But I would not trade CJ Abrams, and here's why. Simple. He is not a Scott Boras client. You can negotiate a long-term deal. In fact, I think another one of Mike Rizzo's failures at this point is that they have not extended him. I think that the Nationals, this should be your number one top priority at this point. Even if you think he's not your long-term shortstop, which is a very real case to be had here. Even if you think, even last week in St. Louis, the lack of hustle plays there, that was infuriating to watch. But this is still an all-star caliber player. And if you look at his first half numbers, he has been electric so far. This is someone that you want to build around, similar to James Wood. And we'll talk about James Wood here in a few minutes, but Abrams does not fit that category of guys that I would be willing to shop at this point. Even if teams are trying to offer a godfather type deal, I would not consider it. Because again, this is a piece where you can extend. Similar to Trey Turner back in the day. And the reason why in that moment I was thinking I would not trade Trey Turner is because you had that opportunity to extend him. And we all thought that that was going to happen. We thought he was going to be a National for life. We thought they would extend him. And the Dodgers came calling. And quite frankly, the Nationals got hosed in that deal. It was a terrible, terrible trade looking back on it because you get Gray and Keibert Ruiz, and both those guys have been meh at best. CJ is in that category. I've learned from that mistake. You can't make that mistake again. I think at this point, whatever CJ is wanting, whether it's $300 million, you give it to him. Now, the other question is, are the Lerners going to be able to fork over that money? I don't know. I don't think at this point in time. But, again, this should be your number one priority. And if a team calls, I'm not taking offers at this point for him. This is a shortstop, a very premium offensive player, still very young, 24 years old at this point. And again, hasn't even reached the peak of his powers. This guy does have a 30-30 season in him, in my opinion. He could hit 30 home runs and steal 30 bags easily. He's just got to be better defensively. And again, we're talking about an MVP kind of talent with CJ Abrams. He'll probably never win one, but again, he's that good. Now, speaking of MVP type of talent, James Wood. I mean, it goes without saying, you are not trading James Wood at this time. Even if a team offered a Juan Soto package times 2 for him, I would not trade James Wood. You have plenty of time for James Wood. And I believe by the end of James Wood's tenure, under his 6-year contract here in DC, we might have new ownership in town. This Nats team could be World Series champions for all we know. I'm going to risk it for the biscuit when it comes to James Wood. This guy is different. You traded away Juan Soto. You trade away other stars in years past like Trey Turner and Max Scherzer. James Wood does not fit that portfolio at this point for me. This guy is too good. This guy will be forever too good to trade away until it's time. And if the Nationals still stink in 5 years, let's talk about it. Because again, that's probably your best decision, especially if the Lerners are still here in town. But James Wood, you're mine. You're mine's. I like you. I love you, in fact. I'm not trading away James Wood for anything. 50 home run potential, MVP ceiling, one of the best hitters in baseball today. This is someone that you're going to have to build around. And if you don't even make the playoffs in this window, which I think is doubtful at this point, then you're just wrong. This guy is way too good to even consider trading at this point. It's never going to happen. I know fans aren't even really talking about it at this point for at least this season, but you're talking about it 3 years down the road. We don't even know where the Nationals will be in the next 3 years. They could have different ownership. They could have the best farm system in baseball. They could have a New York Mets type of salary. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 seasons. But I can tell you this much, James Wood will be a Washington National for the next few seasons at the very least. So I will not entertain anything that has to do with trading James Wood at this point. Others, Dylan Cruz, Brady House, similar territory, both very young. 1 year of 1 year of playing time at this point. You're not trading them. Brady House, hopefully, is your third baseman of the future. And of course, Dylan Cruz, hopefully your right fielder / center fielder of the future. And hopefully he gets things right and comes back healthy later on this season. And I think both those things are very likely at this point in time. On the other hand, though, with the deadline in a few weeks away, Nathaniel Lowe, Kyle Finnegan, you might have to sit down in Mike DeBartolo's office because you, my friends, are on the block. I'll tell you why after this. Ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. And it's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. And Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center, and you can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. And yes, I'm in my mid-20s. I need some long-term goals, and Monarch Money has let me set my long-term goals while also right here in the moment. It's made me realize that I spend too much money on food deliveries and all different sorts of what I think are cheap ways out, but it turns out it is not. And Monarch Money has made me come to that realization that I need to save money and plan those long-term goals. And I can do that all in one app. And yes, if you have kids or a financial plan, they can even help you in that department. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. Thank you all for making Locked On Nationals your first listen every single day, as we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And yes, the Nationals baseball is coming back this week, the nice little all-star break here, but we get right back into it with the MLB trade deadline, and we'll have that coverage for you as the weeks go by here, because the Nationals, they're in an interesting spot. They could sell MacKenzie Gore. They could sell a couple other pieces, but guys that I am willing to sell are closer Kyle Finnegan and first baseman Nathaniel Lowe. Let's start with Kyle Finnegan because I think he is the obvious answer at this point. He's on a 1-year deal. He's in his mid-30s, and he's had a great season for the Nationals. They should have traded him at last year's deadline. Luckily for them, they somehow moved off him in free agency, and they said, we're not going to take you to arbitration. We're going to let you walk. Fortunately enough for the Nats, in spring training, no one signed Kyle Finnegan, and they got him at a lesser deal. So Mike Rizzo and the Nationals, they won that. Good for them. I did not expect that, certainly. But now you got to have to make things right. And it's not Mike Rizzo, but it's going to be Mike DeBartolo. You have to trade Kyle Finnegan for the best possible package or prospect or whatever is out there. Kyle Finnegan might be the best closer on this year's trade market, and you're going to have to take advantage of that. If I am DeBartolo at this point, I am making it well known that Kyle Finnegan is on the trade block. Not like MacKenzie Gore, when I was talking about teams are going to have to come to us for MacKenzie Gore, but Kyle Finnegan, take him. And I love Kyle Finnegan. I think Kyle Finnegan has proven me wrong over the years. I've always said I like Finnegan. I don't know if he's a closer. And even then, he still might not be a closer on a very good team. But he has been proven right, in my opinion, that he is a solid closer. He is an above average closer at this point. That is going to be of value to a team. And if I'm the Nationals at this point, you have to trade him. This is not a future piece for this team. Even if it's a team's 15th best prospect, you trade him. Bullpen help is always a good team's number one need. I look at teams like the Houston Astros. They need bullpen help badly. They've got Josh Hader as their closer. Finnegan will not be in that role, but he could certainly be a setup man in that bullpen. Again, Kyle Finnegan, don't even make it an option. You trade him. He is not coming back. And if he does, color me shocked, I guess, but he's probably going to sign a 2-3-year deal this offseason and take in one of the only opportunities that he has to get the most money possible. And that's what he should do. But that's not going to be here in DC. In the Nationals, you're going to have to develop some bullpen talent here or sign them this offseason or make some savvy moves again and get another Kyle Finnegan in the building. But right now, this is not a future piece. You got to trade him. So we'll talk a lot about him and what to expect moving forward, but that leads us to first baseman Nathaniel Lowe. At this point in time, I would trade Nathaniel Lowe. And he's got a year and a half of control left. And I'll just be honest with you guys. If I was a GM, you'd hate me. You would absolutely hate me. Because when you're in a rebuild, you have to look at everything. You have to look at the young guys. You have to look at the development. You have to look in the minors. And you have to look at your veteran pieces, especially if you're near 30 years old like Lowe is. Is he a future piece? And if he is a future piece, or if you believe he could be a future piece, how good could he be? I like Lowe. He's had a pretty solid season. It was a good trade to trade off Robert Garcia and get Nathaniel Lowe in the building. But with that in mind, he's not a future piece. And you could do a lot better at first base. And if that's Yohandy Morales, which who knows at this point, if it is, he struggled a little bit in AAA. He does have some power. He's pretty solid defensively at first base. I'd be willing to give him a shot and see what he can do for the second half of the season, the last 2 months of 2025, and go into this offseason with all options open, dumping some money from next year. If you are in this save mode and you're going to go in on analytics, I'd be kind of surprised if the analytics say that Nathaniel Lowe is a lot better than the numbers that he has put up. I like Lowe. I think he's been solid. He's been good. And unfortunately, we're going to be losing a clubhouse kind of leader. But that's a trade that, again, I am willing to make. And if I'm DeBartolo, he's got a year and a half of control left. If you decide to hang on to him and trade him this offseason or next deadline, then I'm sorry, but that's wrong. You should trade him this trade deadline. This is when his value is at its highest. He is not going to get any higher. Maybe if he really breaks out next season and has an awesome season where he's a Silver Slugger candidate again, then maybe we're wrong. But I think a team is willing to take a chance on someone who is solid defensively, solid power, who could be in the middle of their lineup, who stays really healthy, and overall is just a good clubhouse guy. And that does mean something to a lot of these GMs out there. I would consider it. I would definitely consider it. And in fact, if I'm DeBartolo, kind of similar to Finnegan, I'm taking the best offer on the table for Nathaniel Lowe. And the Nationals, they might look a lot different moving forward for the rest of the season, but you just blew out your president of baseball ops. You just blew out your manager. And I think that the time is now in order to sell off these veteran pieces, reevaluate, and you still have your young core of guys, and we'll see what the Nationals ultimately decide to do. But if I'm the Nats, I'm trading closer Kyle Finnegan no matter what, and I'm leaning towards that with also your veteran first baseman with Nathaniel Lowe. Love Nathaniel Lowe, love Kyle Finnegan, but I'm planning here for the future. And the future, unfortunately, wasn't as bright a few weeks ago, but now if you make these savvy moves and if DeBartolo can put together some great packages, I'd move off him at the deadline. But we'll see what the Nationals decide to do, and we'll follow all the reports these upcoming weeks. But until then, enjoy. Enjoy the night off of baseball. Enjoy Nationals baseball coming back this week. And yes, the trade deadline is coming up, some MLB prospects, and of course, the wrap-up of the MLB draft. I'll have that and more on tomorrow's Locked On Nationals. I'll catch you guys. Have a good one. Go Nats.